Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world while you're watching this. My name is Raphael. I am an astrologer, tarot reader, and numerologist. For those of you that don't know, if you are new to my channel, numerologist and energy worker, I might add, if you are new to my channel, if you are a continued subby, you know Rafi loves you, and I would like to say as well. Obviously, today you are tuning in on a Mars day. So, this is basically all about the transits of Mars over the course of the week ahead, where we're going to delve into what Mars is doing, how that might speak to us. And as always, there will also be tarot pulls for the element groups as well. So if you are watching this right now, give me a thumbs up and let me know in the chat where you are in the world. And if you are watching this after the fact, also thank you so much for being here. So let's get started. Sorry, I'm just taking care of some housekeeping, making sure that all the uh, description and everything is populated, as they say. Okay, so let's go to here. Let's do this. All right, hello everyone. Good to have you. So the Taurus Garden, hey, hope you are well. Thank you for being here. Paul Gritzelmacher, good morning. Rachel England, Jan Wallace, hey, hey. Heidi, hello, hello, hello. Niall, it's been a while, brother. How you doing? Good, I hope. Hi Jan, lovely to have you. Hi Lana. Hey Yards, lovely to have you. Good to see ya. Asleep by nine. Hello, hello, hello. All right, cool. All right, good stuff. So Ontario, Canada. Lovely. All right. Actually reminds me of a friend who lives in Canada that I haven't spoken to in I think it's about a year. And I have no idea where that year has gone. It's insane to me actually that it's November already of 2025. Um, just madness, absolute madness. But I am steady in the background working on your 2025 reads. They are almost ready. I'm just getting the last sort of final bits together. So stay tuned because they will be coming. Um, all right, so let's get into it because I'm waffling now at this point. So let me just say that when we're talking about Mars, Mars is the planet of action, energy, passion, irritation, challenge, conflict. It can be crisis, but it's usually the crisis that's brought about as a result of like our actions, etc. Mars is also a powerful energy of our own willpower. It represents like our personal power, how we use that power, how we use our energy, our passion, and our drive, how we really push ourselves forward, how we drive our own agendas or go about attracting or getting after our own interests or desires in some way, shape, or form. Mars is really, it's, it's a necessary, all of the planets are necessary, but Mars is a necessary energy. And I do want to say, there's definitely something in this whole we should refrain certain things. Mars is an energy that's needed. It's an energy that we need to push our own desires forward, to really find it within ourselves, to go after the things that we desire, right? To really find our energy. Now, that being said, obviously, we need to find a way to use that energy so that it is constructive. Now, what I will say to you is obviously, we've just come out of Mars is currently in the sign of Leo. We're going to talk about this in just a moment, but Mars has just come out of the sign of Cancer. We all know how that experience went, right? It wasn't the easiest of experiences. What I will say is now that you have sort of had a taste of that, there's more of it to come because Mars is going to go retrograde at the beginning of December. It's going to come back into the sign of Cancer. Mars, out of all of the planets, is the one that hates most to go retrograde because it really is an energy of driving things forward. This is Mars rules, when you think about the signs that Mars rules Aries, which is the cardinal fire sign. I don't know if you've ever met an Aries, but there's forward and there's forward. There's kind of go and more go. There's not necessarily there's not necessarily an off switch. This is about driving things towards what it is that we require, what it is that we desire. Mars does have a magnetic quality to it. When you think about the energies or the things or the people that Mars rules, Mars is the laser, Mars is the scalpel, Mars is even the scissors, right? So we can use Martian energy to cut off, to remove, to get rid of. Venus likes to make things pretty, but Mars is the energy that we really need to clean house. This is where we kind of say, right, I need to get rid of this, I need to remove that, I need to release this. And Mars energy, truth be told, can help us do that. Mars moved through my 12th house while it was in Cancer, and I can't tell you the amount of things that in the back of myself, my soul, my psyche, my brain, there were so many things from the past that I was just like, cut, 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 right? I don't need that anymore. It's not relevant anymore. It's not relevant to this part of my life. Did it make me more frustrated? Yes, absolutely. Did it make me angry about the past? Absolutely. Mars is a planet of anger. And, if you've been with me long enough, you will have heard me say anger is a necessary emotion. It can really help you get stuff done, right? When you get angry about something, you're able to push past your tiredness, you're able to push past your apathy. When your adrenaline starts to pump, right? As they say, pregnant mother moves a bus off of her 2-year-old, or I think it was a grandmother who was like 78 years of age, lifted a truck off of her 4-year-old grandchild. Do you know what I mean? Like when you tap into anger, adrenaline, when you tap into all of these supposed negative states or emotions, and you transmute them and you channel them, what is possible because of them is actually quite incredible. So Mars energy is absolutely necessary. I have, in fact, get at me in the comments. Let me know, where is Mars for you in your chart? What house or sign does Mars opposite? We weren't meant to be bliss bunnies all the time. No, definitely not, right? You got to tap into that anger from time to time. You have to use it for something and, really try to not let it implode. Or at the same time, you have to kind of not let it burn things, right? Not let it burn everything. Funnily enough, the last time Mars went through my third house, I burnt my hand on the oven, and the scar is literally just starting to fade now, and that was like 2+ years ago at this point. So, and obviously when you think about the third house in astrology, third house is your hands, right? It's these things. So Mars moving through a sign can bring burns, it can bring stings, it can bring, uh, Mars can also be the laser that you use. There's so many applications for it. So all stuff to think about. So Laurel was born with Mars in the third house in Aquarius. Watch out for your hands, right? But at the same time, this can see you pick up skills really quickly, right? Maybe you have a burning need to pick something up fast. You've got Christina Pitcher says Mars in Scorpio in the seventh. That is a powerful Mars. It's an intense Mars, and it tells me that when it comes to relationships, there's no fluffing around with you. It tells me that when it comes to relationships, maybe you prefer open, honest, direct communication, Christina, even if it does come with a little bit of intensity because of that scorpionic trait. When it comes to partnerships, collaborations, connections, interactions, or even personal, professional, or platonic one-to-one connections, maybe you like them to have a little edge of competitive about them. Maybe you're at the point in your life where you think, you know what, I don't need to compete in my relationship anymore. I want us to be active about the same things. I want us to be passionate about the same things. Maybe at this point in your life, you've learned to channel that Mars and to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to make sure that the relationship ticks over in the right way by making sure that the air is always clear between us. Scorpio is involved, so you got to keep that in consideration. Uh, Mars in Virgo in the second house. That is very interesting. I do wonder with that Mars in the second, if you are able to make and generate money really quickly, but then you're also able to get rid of that money really quickly. It's like as quickly as it comes in is as quickly as it can go out. But because it's in Virgo, Mars, I actually like a Virgo Mars, to be completely honest with you, because it sees you using that sort of forthright, driving, passionate energy to really get serious about the details. Do you know what I mean? It's like getting focused and stuff. Um, Christina says, yes, intense passion, especially with Sag Sun in eighth. Very rarely get angry. Yeah, I'm intrigued by this because Mars in Scorpio is not like Mars in Aries. Mars in Aries is explosive. Mars in Scorpio is like a deep rolling boil. You know, when you can see the surface of the water and you can tell that the bubbles underneath are really going like this. A lot happens underneath the surface with a Mars in Scorpio. It's not necessarily like the intense burst. Like I have Mars in Aries at 0 degree of Aries. So, as nice and as happy and as warm and as jovial and as playful as I am, when my Mars shows itself, it tends to be quite notable. And because most of the time I am like this, how you guys see me, I don't put on a facade for the camera. How I am with you guys, potty mouth and all, is pretty much how I am. My temper and my anger have had to work a lot over the years to really keep it well controlled. And things really improved the more I used to dance, and obviously the more I go to the gym and keep active. It's when I don't that it kind of runs away with itself. So your Mars it need just like you need to feed your moon, your Mars needs something to do. You have to give it something to do because otherwise its energy will turn inward. Mars in Pisces is not necessarily a bad thing in terms of its tarotic aspect. Mars in Pisces is actually the Ten of Cups, which is one of the best cards in the entire tarot deck, so that could be really nice. But Mars in the 12th house, there's a few things that could come up with that in terms of like things like intense dreams. I wonder, I would ask you if we were in a consultation together about your sleep habits and patterns. How do you sleep? How well do you sleep? Is it interrupted? Do you find that your dreams are very active and very vivid? These are all things that I would start to ask about with that Mars in the 12th. Asleep by Nine says, I have a long fuse, but once I'm lit, I'm lit. Like literally, you couldn't have described it any better. That is basically me. 95% of the time, it's this, Raf. You get me on that 5%, or you push me to that point, and it usually takes a lot for me to get there. I'm not one of these people that loses my temper for just anything, and I wasn't even like that when I was younger. The problem is once it goes, the Mars goes, right? And you just have to kind of let it run its course. And I think the reason that people used to be so surprised by it is because, like I said, most of the time I'm just like this. I'm a big goofball. So when they see that sort of Mars explode, they're like, where the did that come from? Like, it's like, is it Jekyll and Hyde? No, it's there. It just, it needs its outlet. Okay, so let me share my chart with you. Yeah, I get the feeling that you understand what I'm talking about, Asleep by Nine. Right? And they're like, okay, so that happened. Right? Yeah, absolutely. There's a saying in Indian culture where they say once you let the cow out of the barn, you can't stop it from trampling the pretty flowers. Um, that's genuinely how it is. Like, most of the time it's this me, happy-go-lucky, la la la. And then every so often when someone just pushes me way too far, um, it will happen. Now, not well interrupted sleep, intense dreams sometimes. Yeah, so what I will say to you is, and what's for you, Heidi, what I'm wondering now that I've just read that, if you have Mars in the 12th, and I wonder about your human design profile. If you're a manifesting generator, let me know. But what I will say to you is that Mars in the 12th, you're one of those people you'll have to not exhaust yourself. You know, you have to be careful with your body and your energy, but you will need to spend your energy every day, meaning you will need to do a workout every day, or at least go for a very long walk in some regard, right? You'll need to do something with that energy to stop it from turning inward. Uh, where are you? Who said, was it you, Crystal? No, someone said Mars in Capricorn. Alexis Helen. Mars in Capricorn? That's like an exalted Mars. Hello. That's a great Mars. That's a Mars that really knows what it's doing because you're giving the soldier something to do, right? You're giving it structure, you're giving it a place to move directly forward. Um, I believe so. I have to look at my human design. Do work out every day. Yeah, it'll really help. And it's Mars in Pisces. Get active about having a spiritual or a meditative practice in place. But you have to approach it, not like a job at least, but definitely with an element of dedication and true devotion. Pisces, the 12th house is devotion, right? You have to devote yourself to finding peace in your dream and your sleep world. Uh, Marcy, I know who you are. Hello. One thing about being anxious in America, I can't sleep, so get to watch live RAF live for the first time. Hello. Uh, Oh, okay. So Mars in Taurus is that's a slow burn, isn't it? Right? Slow and steady sort of energy is gonna win the race there, as it were. So we start today. Sorry, I just waffled on so much about God knows what, but always good stuff. Um, so your um Mars newly in the sign of Leo. Finally, I think we can all breathe a collective sigh of relief now that Mars has migrated into a fellow fire sign. I absolutely love this personally. And, the fact that it's in my first house doesn't go amiss. That being said, it's immediately setting up that grand trine with Mercury and the North Node. I personally have loved this looking at this a lot. And one of the ways that I really worked with this, so I have, for as many of you know, this year I launched my first ever Work With Me one-to-one for 3 months. And I'm really, really pleased to say that it's going phenomenally well, way better than I expected, and even better than I had hoped. So that's saying something. And one of the things that I highlighted for my people is this grand fire trine that's in the sky. It's such a brilliant and beautiful energy for pushing things forward. It's also under the auspices of a waxing moon, right? So this is really nice, palpable energy that we can use, that we can actually do something with. Now, it is a lot of fire, right? We've got Mercury, we've got Venus and the Moon in fire signs, we've got Mars in the fire sign, we've got Chiron's been there for what feels like bloody ever. And then we've also got the North Node at 5 degrees of Aries, which is moving to come out of that sign. But I really think that this is a wonderful energy, and I encourage you, if you're watching this now, once we get off the call, providing it's not like 11 or 12 p.m. at night, do something with it. Make some kind of action, take some kind of action to initiate something and push something forward in your life, especially in these specific areas and also in the specific areas that Mercury rules for you. So, Mercury is the ruler of both Virgo and where are you? Gemini, right? Mercury and Jupiter are in opposite, well, they're not in opposition at the moment, but they'll come into an opposition. But they're also, even with that opposition that's going to come later on this month, they're in what's called a mutual reception, right? So Mercury is in Jupiter's sign and Jupiter is in Mercury's sign. So they're speaking each other's languages. Even if both of these planets are not necessarily in great spaces in those signs, what's really nice about it is the fact that they are in each other's signs. So it's like, okay, I'm not necessarily fully comfortable here, you're not necessarily fully comfortable there, but we're speaking each other's language. And because of that, we now understand each other better. And I can give you an example of how a mutual reception will play out in real life. In so Uranus moved into Taurus around 2018, 2019 full time, right? Prior to this, I cannot tell you how many of the problems or issues. Now, for those of you that are my Taurus gang, you know I love you. There's no problems, there's no issues, no harm, no foul, right? But for those of you that are anyone that's been with me long enough, as in right back to 2016, will know. I can trace back a lot of the hard challenges or relationships or connections that I've had with people were Taurus. The second Uranus moved into Taurus, my Taurus view count has since then been the highest on any video that I do. Guaranteed, whether it's weeklies or monthlies, my Taurus videos always outperform any other sign. Um, why? Because Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius. Aquarius is me. Aquarius is my sun. Aquarius is my Mercury. We're now speaking each other's languages. We understand each other. And I can tell you, not many transits happen like a switch flipping on and off. But I can tell you 100% this one, as soon as Uranus went into Taurus, my ball gang showed up for me. It was like suddenly we just understood each other in a really incredible way. So that's to give you an idea of how a mutual reception shows up or how it kind of works. So, in terms of Mars, Mars is at 0 degrees of Leo. Absolutely love this. It's a fire sign, so Mars understands this energy. It's in a really nice trine to the North Node, and it's applying to that energy. So we've got a few weeks of this. Now, that being said, as we know, come December 7th, Mars is going to retrograde out of the sign of Leo and back into the sign of Cancer. Now, I can't say I'm thrilled about this. I'm really sorry, but I can't. If you were born with Mars in Cancer, I feel you. I feel your pain, and I'm fairly certain that you've managed to find some life hacks that the rest of us haven't as yet. So, I'm sure you've managed to find a way to work with it. I can't personally say I'm looking forward to it. What I will say is that this grand fire trine is part one of a story. Whatever you are initiating at this moment in time, with the moon also in a fire sign or in the Sagittarius energy, should I say, and as a waxing moon, whatever you're initiating now, some astrologers say that because Mars goes retrograde, whatever you initiate now is going to fizzle out. I don't personally subscribe to that idea. What I do think will happen is whatever you do get started, whatever you do initiate out into the world, once Mars goes retrograde, like certainly from now until the 7th of December, you might think like Mars trying in the North Node, you've got the energy, you're pushing it forward, like you're like, yes, this is working, it's amazing, I feel amazing, oh, this is working, da, 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 da. Mars goes retrograde and then it comes back into Cancer. I don't think that it fizzles out. I think what really happens is that the energy of Mars goes inward. It starts to activate that Cancer house of your chart and says to you, if you really want this to succeed, you're going to have to understand the emotional component to it, and you're going to have to marshal, Mars, your inner and emotional resources of Cancer. You're going to have to find a way to make this a part of your current experience, and you're going to have to use your deep emotional energy in order to fuel this. Why? Because the external energy or the physical energy isn't as palpable, right? And so, what this means is if it fizzles out, once you've started this thing, once you've initiated this, if it fizzles out, you weren't emotionally connected to it. If you're emotionally tied to it and emotionally invested in this thing that you're starting right now, it will succeed. Will it be delayed? Will it have challenges, bumps, potentially some kind of crisis or issue? Yes, absolutely. It's going to be Mars retrograde in the sign of Cancer. There's no getting around that factor. However, if you are emotionally invested, you will be able to push it forward. And one of the things that I really feel, and I don't know about anybody else. If you know me, you know I'm a huge superhero. All of the Marvels, all the DC, all of them. I love all of them, even the ones that were terrible. I love them because that's like me seeing my comic books and my cartoons come to life. What's not to love, right? A full adult man, I get to totally geek out. It's amazing. What I love about them is every so often they'll hit you with a gem that just absolutely breaks through to your heart, and you think, damn, ain't that some stuff about life, right? So I'll give you an example with this one, right? This Mars retrograding back into Cancer and about being emotionally invested, right? There is in one of the Wolverine films, in Wolverine Origins, he says to him, "We're going to make you indestructible, but first we're going to have to completely destroy you." Right? This energy here, you know those training montages that you see in all films that get you really hyped up to go and do a workout and then it wears off about 3 days later? Right? That is very much the energy here, right? That training montage, that's where it's hard, where it's challenging, where you don't feel like doing it, where you don't feel like you've got any energy left in the tank. And yet, there's something emotionally, Mars in the sign of Cancer, there's something inside that says to you, I can, and this is something that's very true about me, which you'll have heard me say before. I have in life endured incredible pain. We all have in some way, shape, or form, both physical and internally, right? But I can handle anything. I don't care how much pain you put me through. If it means something to me or I genuinely feel that this is worth fighting for, I can go through anything. As long as I know what that end goal is, I don't care what you throw at me. That's where me and my spirit become truly unbreakable. And so, what this for me is really doing, that Mars coming back into the sign of Cancer, it's going to test you. It's going to say, you started this thing because it was fun and it felt good and you had the energy and the passion and drive to do it. Well, does it actually mean something to you? Because as this comes back into the sign of Cancer, I'm going to test you. Let's see if you want that new body. Let's see if you want that next level job. Let's see if you want that new money. Let's see if you want this skill. Let's see if you really want to be able to play this instrument 6 months from now. Whatever it is that you're initiating, whatever it is that you're going after, you either want it or you don't. Mars is very black and white in that way. And this isn't about being mean. It's not about saying, oh, you're weak or whatever. It's simply asking you the question. You either have the energy for this or you don't. Why? Because even when you're good at something, you're going to face a challenge with it. Do you want it or not? If you do, that Mars will empower your Cancerian energy and it will push you forward in a way that you're like, damn, okay, fine. You know what? I never forget. I had a personal trainer about this was just after the pandemic had come to a close. I had a personal trainer for a bit. And I remember one day he had me doing these damn things with a bar above my head and then dropping to the floor and doing a burpee. And at one point, I was actually doing it with my eyes closed. And he was like, are you all right? And I was like, yeah. I was just digging down into the reserve of energy that I have. And I can assure you what Mars going back through the sign of Cancer, because we've had it moving forward through Cancer, we haven't had it retrograde there for a long time. So now you're about to understand what your deeper reserves of energy and power are and how it's your emotional self that's going to activate them. Ooh, sorry, that one just kind of came through. All right. So, Shay Shay says, I want that body and that money. Ooh, you better get it, honey. Come and get that money and that body. I love it. Get out here and get it. Um, so whatever you are initiating now, this is part one of the story. You'll have a part two of this story as we get to, I'm going to show you this just because I think it's relevant to it. Have a look at the 26th of the month. What happens? The sun replaces Mercury at that 4 degrees. The North Node will still be in Aries at 5, and Mars reaches 5. This is just before Mars is about to go retrograde. Only at this time, we have a waning moon in the sign of Libra. That grand fire trine, then, that's in the sky, is a part two, right? That's part two of the story. Part one is today. So have a moment, think about it. What are you going to initiate? What are you going to use today to push forward into your life in some regard? The only thing that I will say to you is it's going to be tested. You will be tested. You will need to show up for it in a way, and maybe at a time where you think, you know what, I just haven't got anything left in the tank. That's where you dig just a little deeper and you find a little reserve that you didn't realize you had. That was me with my eyes fully closed doing this damn exercise because I thought to myself, any minute now, boy, my heart and lungs are about to give out and this guy's calling an ambulance. Like literally, I was just like, right, like really pushing myself. And in the end, it was like my brain and my energy was just all like, "Ugh." And so I just shut my eyes and I just let my body take over. And I just stayed there in the feeling of it, right? Just keep doing it. Whatever it takes, just get to the end. Just keep doing it. That's what it's going to take here, right? So to bring it back to this week, to bring it back to ground, as we come into Wednesday, Mars is holding that. Now, all of this time in the background, because Mars is at 0 degrees of Leo, it's still technically in that opposition to Capricorn, right? Certainly from a perspective of an orb. And so you're asking here, well, not even asking, it's a dissociated opposition. So the structure of our lives or our world is being challenged by our need and our desire for self-sovereignty and personal authority and autonomy. And I talked a lot about that yesterday in the Moon Day Magic video. So as we come into Thursday, Mars then starts to move. It's going to go through an opposition with the moon. So I'm going to say that Thursday has the potentially to be a little bit intense, okay? Moon applying to Capricorn and then coming into the opposition with Mars. Yeah, the 7th is going to be a little intense. And I do feel like that may be because of the stuff that goes on the wider world stage. Now, remember, all this time, Mars is the host of the sun currently. All right, so just keep that in mind. As we move through the week, Mars basically doesn't do a lot. It just about gets to 2 degrees by the time we get back round to next week. Only that at that point, because of the 2 degrees, it starts to do this thing with the nodes where it plays a lot nicer. And then obviously it will come into the trine with Luna as of next week. So I'll be here to talk about that. So, um, the question becomes, I'm intrigued. Maybe you have an idea, maybe you don't, and all answers are fine. Is there something that you want to initiate at this moment in time? Is there something that you feel like right now you are meant to be doing? Is there, something that you think, yeah, you know what, Raf, actually, this is what I want to be initiating into my world. This is what I feel like is relevant for me at this moment in time to move towards. I'm curious. Let me know in the comments. And if you are enjoying this, as always, please drop me some of those flame emojis in the comments and let me know how you're going. Uh, so Shay says, is that why I woke up with at 4 a.m. with a strong urge to work out? Damn. Ooh, you go, girl. Fair play. Yeah. Let's, I think you guys know me by now. I speak as I find. Sometimes I try to censor and edit myself. Sometimes I don't. But it's always coming from here, right? Whatever I'm talking about, it always comes from there. Um, all right, I'm just checking out what you guys have got to say. Uh, oh, new puppy. Love that. That's so lovely. Um, cool. All right. Thank you for all the flame emojis. I'm loving seeing them. I appreciate you guys so, so much. Crystal says, I just applied for a new rental. We're moving to Leo is my fourth house. Oh, really good luck with that. Hopefully that will bring a speeding up to the whole process for you. Jan says, I did promise I would give up smoking when the stress levels lowered. Look, honestly, the fire trine will help you. But truthfully speaking, if you're looking to give something up, you need a good dose of Saturn. If you want something like that, I mean, this is a good time to get started. But as I say, when that Mars goes retrograde, that's when you're going to really need to dig deep, Jan. So if you want it, there's a way to find out. Um, that's so strange. Is anybody else having a problem hearing me? Because I've got my mic on today, and it is definitely plugged in. Watkins says, I have you all the way turned up, but I'm tuning in. It's not that you're doing wrong. I have a double E. Oh no! Sorry to hear that. Um, yeah, I really hope you get better soon, Watkins. That's awful. Sorry to hear that. I will say though that ears stuff, believe it or not, is throat chakra stuff, right? So whenever we have throat chakra stuff going on, most of the time it's the throat or it's how we speak or what we say. But when you're communicating, you don't just use your voice to communicate, right? You have to use these as well, although some people don't. Um, And so what that means is if you're having problems, obviously I'm not a doctor, this is not medical advice, but what I'm saying is when we get sick with our ears, it tends to be because there's something that we're not hearing or something that we don't want to hear. And so with this, I will say go through your lifescape, be really honest with yourself about what you either can't or won't or refuse to hear, even if it's difficult. Maybe do some journaling around this, and see how that feels, right? See how it settles. So Marcy says, Leo is my ninth house, and I've really been called to travel, but have been stuck. I think I'll make it a priority, but family is why I haven't. So that retrograde in the eighth concerns me again. Yeah, look, that's not to say that it won't have its challenges or its issues, right? There's no getting around it. However, at what point do you then say, okay, you know what, it's time to do this and to know, or maybe you travel, but you don't travel overly far so that you can get back quick enough. Um, or maybe you put in new contingencies. The other thing is as well, something that I learnt with the passing of my nan just recently, is when the day that she passed, obviously up until that point, I'd basically been with her every day and for hours and hours on end. And I remember the nurse saying they usually pick their time, and sometimes it will be when they don't want you around or whatever the case might be. And at the time, I was like, yeah, okay, I can get on board with this idea. I mean, look at everything that I do for work. But that day, I remember I had this compelled, like just absolute compulsion to go home. And within an hour and a half, I got the phone call to say that it's time. Um, and that's not to say like, it's just what is to say that like sometimes you can't control what's going to happen outside of somebody else's walk or process through life. However, you can put in certain place contingencies and just make sure that you've had all the conversations that you want to have. That's what I did with my nan. We had, so many incredible talks before she went, and I genuinely feel that as hard as it was and as sad as it was, there was nothing left unsaid. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing that I look at and think, oh, I wish we could have talked about this, or I wish I'd said sorry for that, or, there was none of that. So I hope that gives you I hope it helps. Uh, oh, I hope your kitties are all right. Um, Watkins says you hit that on the nose. I knew I was sick. I waited too long to get to the doctor and get in walk-in pneumonia treated. Yeah. Okay. All right. Um, it's mum's health, and that's kept me here. Yeah, you know what? And I can totally understand that. I can totally understand that. Do your thing, lovely. Have those talks. Make all the preparations that you can, and when the time comes, just don't leave it with a feeling of anything being unsaid. All right? Use that Mars to be brave. Have all of the talks, all of the love-ins, all of the hugs, and just know that when the time comes, the time will come. Um, okay. So, with that said, I invite you all to take a breath with me. I would like to bless my deck of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise. They help us all on our paths to our highest vibrational good. So, I'm going to give these a shuffle. And you guys are just going to say when. All right. But I don't throw them all over the place. Oh, thank you, Christina. You see that, Watkins? What a beautiful way of the universe doing what it does. So when? So the first card, best area of focus this week, you just can't make it up, right? It's the High Priestess. Your intuition, right? Your inner faculties, your inner energies. If you're going to use this grand fire trine in the fire signs at the moment, right? Dig into what you really feel is important about this, right? Don't let this make the decision for you. Feel into it with your intuition. What do I know I'm going to be able to absolutely begin now that I will find the energy, the passion, the drive, and the desire to continue even when Mars goes retrograde? Listen to your intuition at this time. The best area of focus this week is to pay attention to what your intuitive faculty is telling you. It's also, remember, the High Priestess is hidden things revealed. So this might be a really good time. In fact, this might be an incredible week to say, you know what? What is it that I know needs to see the light of day? What is it that I've been holding on to that I'm ready to get rid of or to let go of? That might be mean going to therapy. It might mean pulling somebody aside and saying, "Hey, listen, I need to talk to you about this." Whether they've made you feel a certain way or whatever the case might be. For our second card, we've got the area to watch out for. It is the Nine of Cups. You know, it's a really interesting card to have for this because the Nine of Cups actually represents healing. And so I'm going to say this in two ways, right? As you can imagine, I see a lot of clients that have had, health issues and are caring for people with health issues, etc. And one thing that I have observed for some people that have had a health issue for a long time is that they continually look for healing. If you are healed already, be healed. That's not to say that things can't come back or they can't happen again or that you'll never be sick again. What I'm saying is, if you are healed now, be healed now. Stop looking for something to heal because otherwise you're going to trigger that pathway again. You don't need to, right? Now, on the other side of this, in terms of something that we need to watch out for, the Nine of Cups is about wish fulfillment. And this isn't to say, like, oh, be careful what you wish for. It's more a case of don't wish for what you want, go for what you want. Don't hope that it drops into your lap. This is Mars energy that we're talking about channeling, Mars in Leo. Go after what you want wholeheartedly in the knowledge that you can have it. Don't expect it to just show up. We've all done that in some way, shape, or form. I can put both of my hands up at this point. There's been tons of times throughout my life where I've been like, no, no, this is great. It's just going to happen, because it's meant to happen for me. Still waiting. Right. And then finally, for our card of outcome, we have the Six of Swords. This week truly has the chance to push us forward in some way, shape, or form. It really has the chance to allow us to move towards what we desire and require as Mars energy is supposed to do, right? So, what this really tells me is this week, the focus is really on us. Mars in Leo, the focus is on you. And if you keep that focus and you make those promises internally to yourself about your future, this is the way. Okay, I'm going to give these a shuffle once more. Let's see what the messages are for the element groupings. When you guys are ready, once more, please tell me when to stop. Yeah, that makes total sense about the women. Um, it really, really does. Guys, we tend to be a bit more brash. We just kind of do it on our own terms, right? And I suppose it's all, what's the word? Um, it's all on our own terms, right? Our journey is ours. Okay, stop. Thank you very much. So, for the fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, you have the Three of Swords. So your message here for your Mars energy is to use this to release something from your life. The Three of Swords is about a separation. It's about a removal of something from our lives. Mars is, as I said earlier, it's cutting, severing, moving things away. It's the energy to get stuff done, to push things forward, to move things out of the way. What this really speaks to for me, if you're a fire sign, is you got to use this week to get rid of something, whatever is superfluous, whatever is holding you back, whatever is not serving you, maybe even actual stuff, right? Like things that like, why do I still have this? Have I ever used it? Have I ever, well, like all of that kind of stuff. Three of Swords, if you're a fire sign, this is the week to get rid of stuff, to use the Mars energy to cut, get rid of, or release. For the air signs, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, you have the Six of Wands. Celebrate your wins, no matter how small they are. Use this energy to big yourself up. Mars energy is bold. Mars energy believes in itself. Mars energy does not second guess itself. And if you're an air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, this week, neither should you. You're not meant to be out here second guessing yourself in any way, shape, or form. This week is really about you utilizing the energy inside you to say, you know what, I am not only good enough, but I'm damn good at what I do, and I can make this happen. Celebrate your small wins and own your talents and skills. For the water signs, Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio, you have the King of Cups. So, twofold message for you guys if you're water signs. Interesting that you get the card that literally represents the pinnacle of your tarotic journey. But the King of Cups, on one side of it, this is about using your artistic or creative skill to the highest sort of benefit for yourself. On another level, ooh, on another level, this is about you using or tapping into your personal intuitive factor in terms of your career and your work, right? This is about delving deep into your intuition to answer the questions that most matter for you in that professional sphere. You've got way more answers than you give yourself credit for, and this week I think you're meant to find them. And then finally, for the earth signs, last but never least, you have, so for Taurus, Capricorn, and Virgo, you've got that Eight of Swords. This card can represent constriction, confinement, and to be entrapped or imprisoned in some way. On the other side of this, though, one of the most beautiful things about this card is that it shows you how to be in something for the long haul. So if you're a Taurus, Capricorn, or a Virgo, really and truthfully, I mean, all the cards are decent to be fair because they speak to everything Martian. But really and truthfully, if you're an Earth sign, this tells me that you're about to tap into this energy that much more because it's like you understand that, okay, yeah, Mars is direct now, but it's going to go retrograde. So let me find that ability to be in something for the long haul and see it through to completion. The Earth signs do this better than anybody else, in particular Taurus and Capricorn. Excuse me. With that said, for all of you that are here in the comments right now, thank you so much for sharing so many of your stories and your insights. It's been really, really wonderful to connect with you. For those of you that are watching this after the fact, you know Rafi loves you, and thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for all of your comments and your interaction. It really does mean the world. If you would like to book a personal session with me, you can do so on the links in the description box of the video. Have a wonderful week ahead. Use your Mars energy before it uses you. And as I said, don't be afraid to tap into using this. Don't be afraid to initiate something now, but just know in the days that follow, you will need to dig deep and find the emotional attachment and connection in order to really see it through to completion. All right. While the energy of Mars is easy at the moment, it's not going to be that for certainly from the 6th of January 2025 right through to about I mean, it goes retrograde right the way through to the 24th of Feb. So it's going to be still somewhat challenged, right? But uh, as we get latter into the year, it will move then through the sign of Leo. Just know that there will be tests to what you're initiating, but I personally feel like they will absolutely be worth it. Have an incredible day. I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Go out there and be who you are destined to be. You know, Raf.